All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know what I did? Yesterday, I found out that, hey, my dual live streams are not working. But I found out that there's another way to do this, and actually, they have made it a little bit easier. So, hopefully, my dual live stream works today. But I'd like to do something because it's Mother's Day. So, for all the mothers out there, let me say this. This comes from Jeannie Graveline. A mother's love. No gift on earth is greater, no treasure held above the joy that comes from knowing a mother's endless love. In spite of how it's tested, it grows from year to year, providing strength and comfort. It gently draws us near. It warms us, it protects us, it guides us from afar, shedding light upon us like a bright and shining star. When all the things are measured and none shall rise above or be compared in value to a mother's endless love. To all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. I hope you guys enjoy your day. I hope you have a wonderful and joyous celebration with your mother. If your mother is fortunate enough to be alive, please call her, tell her you love her. And for those of you whose mothers have passed, remember that a mother's love is something that's never forgotten. So I just wanted to start the stream off by saying Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Thank you for everything that you've done. Sometimes it is a thankless job, but there's always people who love and admire you for the work that you've done. So thank you very much. All right. So good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Let's say we got Mike Noodle in here. Mike, we're going to be talking about the Coin Show podcast. Unfortunately, Mother's Day's duties pulled me away from watching it live. I did watch it on the follow-up. Very nicely done. You guys crushed that interview. That was a lot of fun. We're going to talk a little bit about
everybody.
I'll say Happy Mother's Day to you, Eric, but she's sleeping.
Right.
So.
Oh, I've been called a mother before.
Yeah, followed by proclivative.
Maybe.
Yes.
Mother.
I hope you guys are well. So let's go straight into the Coin Show podcast.
Oh man,
that was cool, dude. That was cool.
That was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I didn't realize, and we talked about this a little bit just before we went live. I didn't realize, I never really put two and two together that she's the only living person that we have on a coin. And that was holy crap, that's cool. You don't think about those things, right? And we've been joking kind of between the three of us this morning. Maybe we should be collecting those.
Right. Well, you can put a set together. I mean, you don't have to do the innovation or whatever it is, whatever dollars it is, Native American. You can do just the Sacagaweas, which are 6 or 7 of them.
Well, if you just want to do the Sacagaweas and not the Native American dollars.
Correct. I mean, but even the Native American, you probably could put a set together so cheap that it wouldn't.
There's not really any key dates. I mean, there's special ones, like the IP strikes and
don't get me going on that stuff.
And the Goodacre presentation dollars and the Cheerios and the I don't know. You can,
before you know it, I'll have 8,000 rolls of those.
That's the extent of mine right there, what you see on the screen.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can put just the Sacagawea. I mean, I don't know why they changed the name. It's still Sacagawea, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe
to be more inclusive. I'll tell you exactly why they did it.
They're like, if we change the name, people won't know it's Sacagawea.
Yeah.
I might do it just for the heck of it.
I think I'm going to do it too. I mean, I've already have a few of them, but
I still got to watch the program. Had my spousal duties to take care of yesterday with the house and spending time with my wife for Mother's Day and stuff like that. Plus, I've got a sick dog, as you all know by now.
Yeah.
Puppy.
So, hey, for the subscriber, your name doesn't show up, but thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate that. I've looked at my 2000s. I can promise you that I don't have a Cheerios dollar, and I don't have one of the gold ones that went into space. So, those are probably two I'll never be able to have.
Well, they changed the reverses of them, Mike, but the obverse is still the same, right?
There's minor differences, aren't there?
I don't think so.
Hey, good morning, John. How you doing? What's up, Pedro? Hope you're doing well, brother. No, they did not change anything. Okay. The date got moved. Yeah, they moved that to the reverse.
Oh, yeah, to the edge.
Or to the edge. That's right, the edge lettering.
The edge lettering, yeah. Mhm.
Which you'll see on eBay quite a bit. The missing date. People think it's an error.
Yeah, there's a couple that are known, I think, for missing edge lettering. I mean, you still have the edge lettering, things, but they actually so I talked about that a little bit with Greg Bennick, that in 2007 when they came out with the presidential dollars, the first year that George Washington was a problem.
Lots of no edge lettering. I've got a few of them.
Yeah, lots of missing edge lettering on the George Washington. There's a couple other issues that have it too, but not like the George Washington. The George Washington has a ton of missing edge lettering. Well, that's because the device that they used, the edge lettering mill that they used, was in a different area. So they would strike the coins, they would put them in bags, they would move them, they would put them through the edge lettering mill. Well, because of that, the following year they moved it, and now it is actually part of the entire process. So the coins go right from striking to edge lettering.
Yeah, it's in the collar, something like that. Or?
No. The proofs are proofs have always been the edge lettering has always been struck into the coin with a segmented collar on the proofs.
Because for those that want the trivia piece on that, Paula, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. Originally, it was done through something called the casting machine.
That's right.
Yeah, casting. That's the old name.
That's the old way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a trivia piece for you.
But they've always done the proofs. They've always done the edge lettering on with the segmented collar for the proofs, because obviously you don't want to put a proof coin through a rotating edge lettering
whipping around.
Yeah, whipping it around and stuff. So they've always done those different. No, I'm talking about the actual edge lettering rolling mill casting machine. They moved it, so now it is a fluid process. It goes from the striking chamber right to the edge lettering, because they didn't want that problem again as that they had with the George Washington coins. So I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, so with the Sacagaweas, it was the same. It's the same thing basically but they really didn't have the problem with the Sacagaweas, because they, at that point, when they started putting the edge lettering on the Sacagawea dollars, it was already an integrated process. So right from the striking chamber to the edge lettering, they didn't have to move the coins to a separate area to put the edge lettering on. Now it's just a fluid process, striking right to edge lettering. So you don't get Sacagawea dollars missing edge lettering are much more, not that they're more collected, probably just because it's not a highly collected coin, but they are much more coveted to error collectors if you can get a Sacagawea dollar or Native American dollar.
I have two missing edge lettering coins. I think I have. It's definitely one, the Washington's when they first came out. And then I think it's a Jefferson.
Yeah.
Either Jefferson or an Adams. It's one of the two of those.
Yeah, I got a John Adams also.
Yeah. I don't remember which one it is, but It might be in Adams. I think it was the first two, right? Washington
Yes.
and Adams. Yeah, I think that's. And then I couldn't find any additional ones, but
I think there actually is other ones.
There are, but they're
Yeah.
much more scarce.
Much
the
more scarce.
Washington is very easy. You can acquire a Washington missing edge lettering one, and you also have to be careful when purchasing them because the edgelet. So if you've ever seen they use a lot of these dollars in vending machines. In fact, that is why they were created. That's
For the
the
post
theory.
office.
yeah, post
Yeah.
office.
By the vending machine companies.
Yep.
So they use a lot of these in vending machines. Now, if you've ever seen a quarter or a $50 with the missing reading, you'll probably know where I'm going next. With
Right.
this.
Yeah.
It's very easy to mistake a missing edge lettering for one that has just been worn away. Your best bet is going to be to weigh the coin because it's going to be a little bit lighter, and to watch for any other signs that it has been worn away as opposed to completely missing, because the edge will be very smooth on one that is actually missing the edge lettering, because that coin has been, it's still struck inside a collar, even though it's not a edge lettered collar. It's still struck inside a collar. So the edge will be very smooth on one that is truly missing the edge lettering, as opposed to any like circulation marks or anything. So be very careful when you're purchasing one. It can be tricky. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and you can tell sometimes people have sanded them down and they've done other things.
They do that too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things you have to be
post
careful when
office.
you're looking at the edge lettering.
That if I go in and pay cash, I get gold dollars and change. They don't give any paper dollars out.
Yeah, we have an electronic machine that we do at our post office, so we just pay.
This is even the regular
touch
teller. You go up to the teller and she'll give you coins back, and you can ask her for paper dollars, and she says, "Nope, coins only."
Yeah, and that's, I mean, if you want to search coins, it's not a bad way to do it because you can spend them if there's nothing on them. And I can pretty much tell you that they're not going to be checking it out. Good morning, Great Scott. Good morning, Inkman, David Carlisle. Hope you all are doing well. Thanks for being in here today. So I want to get back to the discussion, and there was something that she said, and actually Mike had asked a question regarding what he thought about the Native American series and how her relationship with Goodacre was.
Oh my gosh.
She started talking about the need to have people online, and Mike mentioned a coin, and I want to share this coin. Now, I don't want Mike, Paula, or Eric to mention what this is, but I want to know if people in chat know what this coin is, and why it's extremely important, why it was extremely important to her that the United States Mint not make the same mistake that Canada did when they created this, because it's important that you include the Native American tribes in decision making for stuff like this. Inkman has crushed it. Yeah, exactly. And so this is a 1958 Canadian silver dollar. It's the British Columbia, and this is the totem dollar. And unfortunately, this is what's called the death totem. It's the death dollar, and this had a big stink in Canada. And Mike brought that up, and it brings to light a discussion. And we had this. This is I asked Paul and Eric not to talk about this simply because we talked about it this morning. But it talks about the opportunities for CAC to engage with um, populations or look at some different elements. And
CCAC, not to be confused with.
Yeah, not to be confused with the grading company.
Yeah.
And it's extremely important that we look at a lot of these things. And again, you guys know how I feel about the semi-quincentennial. The selection of the coins that have been made, I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy with some of the stuff that they did. It was very politically charged, and it had nothing to do, in my opinion, with the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
And they had some outstanding designs.
They had some opportunities.
If you watched the CCAC meeting on YouTube about that, some of these coins denominations had 25 designs submitted. Even though stuff you don't see in the print, you see different stuff on the video. The problem is it's like a 20-hour video, so you kind of got to dig it out.
And I watched a lot of the selection process when they were going through this, and I was very disheartened really quickly because you could tell that this was all politically charged. And it's very important to me, and you guys have seen, I've posted videos about this. You've heard Paula talk about it. Neither Paula or myself will own things like the Air Force coin because the core values are done out in the wrong order. It's integrity
and
first.
That would have been something super easy.
Yeah, and they could have altered the design element to accommodate that. Not a big deal. But they don't take into consideration what actually is important to the population in which they're making the coin about. And it was an extremely good point. And while I didn't necessarily agree with everything she had indicated regarding that particular item, she was spot on with this. And this is something that, Paula, how many times have you and I talked about the Air Force coin or the, semi-quincentennial, right?
Oh, I've been complaining about the semi-quincentennial for
forever.
And
so this is where, and again, I don't say this to be conspiracy theory. I don't say this to be overly critical. I mean, I take that back. I say this to be critical. But the CCAC really needs to start engaging with somebody other than politicians. And we have to be careful and make sure that if you're going to put a design on the coin that represents or affects a population of people, they really need to have the experts there. And not just the designers, because the designers don't know crap. They just don't. Some of them will do the necessary research, but the rest of the people on that selection process don't care. They're looking at how does it strike. Eric, you've said this 1,000 times. Does it meet national security?
That was one of the biggest questions on all the designs is how does Homeland Security feel about this coin?
Right. And
will
so,
it cause uprisings and stuff like that?
So when we saw her talk about this and she mentioned this and Mike brought this coin up, it was a really great point. Very, very good insight by Mike. But the interview overall was very well done. And so if I can have one of my moderators, please go over to the Coin Show podcast, grab that link. And folks, I'm serious.
Everybody subscribe if you're not.
Yeah, go check that out. I want you to go check out that that video. What's her name again, Paula?
Randy L. Teton.
L. Teton. Okay. Go check that out. She was the person who was the inspiration behind the design of the Sacagawea dollar. And again, she's the only living person to be on a coin. That is a pretty freaking cool thing. And
I'll point out that I don't want to say too much because I really want you guys to watch it because it was, you guys know I like to talk and stuff, and I was like, I was riveted. I mean, I couldn't, I mean, even if I had been there live, I wouldn't have been able to say anything because her story is just so riveting. But I will say that little known fact is that there are no sketches or images or anything of the actual Sacagawea. So there was a lot that went into. I guess Lewis and Clark did a lot of sketches of everything that had to do with, I mean, the flora and fauna and everything, but never drew Sacagawea. And so they had to, there was a lot that went into doing the actual image of her or what they thought she would look like. And so that is where that's where Randy L came in.
Paula just got a trach.
Right?
Trach, what?
You just got a trach. You just turned into this.
I did?
Oh, it's horrible.
Crap.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I'm sorry. Hang on.
All right. Yeah. Great Scott's like, Paula's possessed. Yeah, it sounds like she's talking through one of those, the things you have in your throat where you have to put it over. Yeah. But no, she's absolutely right. And but go check that out. It was very well done. What the thing that's really cool about that is the U.S. Mint obviously. Again?
Yes.
Is this any better?
Paula joined Daft Punk. That's a great.
I'm sorry.
That's a great reference there, Pedro. That was awesome.
It is better, Paula.
Yeah, it's way better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but what was really cool is, and she was talking about something when they talk about the special sets that were created. Everybody in her family got one of these, and
did you
Jack
guys
Young,
hear anything I
that's
said
funny.
about?
I'll have 2 hamburgers and fries, please.
Oh my gosh,
that's exactly what that sounded like. That's funny.
I'll have to go back and listen to it.
Yeah, that's funny. If I would have been a little bit quicker on my feet, I'd have been funny. All right, can I get a hamburger?
Did you hear anything? Did you hear anything I said?
Yeah, you can repeat it if you'd like to.
So, like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but she was talking about how why Glenna Goodacre wanted a model for Sacagawea, and I guess it's because there are absolutely no actual images of Sacagawea herself. Lewis and Clark that did a lot of sketches of like all of the stuff with the tribe and the flora and fauna and everything, but never did any sketches that they know of Sacagawea. So they had to kind of just come up with what they thought she would look like. And so the whole process is really interesting of how they did that.
Yeah,
so
and
go watch it.
Go watch it, right? And we can talk about this
please
in depth, but I don't want to destroy it for anybody else. Go watch that. It really is good. Leave comments down below. And again, let them know that you came over from.
I think we should start a petition though to have the U.S. Mint give Randy L. Teton one of the gold 25th anniversary Sacagawea dollars that they're planning on doing.
Oh, that would be cool. I was
not a fan of them, but
that actually might be a really cool thing. There's that might be cool. They're all sitting in the supposedly they're all sitting at Fort Knox right now. So
really?
Yeah, all the gold dollars. There's one on display at the Smithsonian, but the rest of them are at Fort Knox.
The gold Sacagawea dollars?
Yeah, the ones that actually went up into space.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about they're doing in February they proposed for the 25th anniversary that they do a actual gold, because this is the 25th anniversary of the Sacagawea.
Yeah, but there's actually already a gold Sacagawea dollar that came out in 1999, went up into the shuttle Columbia. Yeah.
Yeah, you talked about that.
They already have. I thought you were referencing one of those.
No.
I think that would be cool as hell for her too, though. But I think one of the new ones. I think it should be a no-brainer that she should get one of those. I think every time the Mint releases one of those, she should be on the distribution list for one.
Yeah, she should automatically get one.
Oh, EMR, your lawnmower was stolen. That sucks.
Oh man, now you can't mow the lawn. Wah wah.
You need to tell that
Had a
crook to cut it
vagrant
out.
in my
Sorry.
back fenced in yard this morning. Why would he still? Is it a riding? Now, if it's a riding lawnmower, I get.
Yeah,
that,
it'd probably
but,
have to be a riding lawnmower.
They need their ride.
Reminds me of a bad joke, but I'm not going to say it.
Shopping carts.
We actually saw we have a Walmart about 4 miles from our house, and we saw a couple kids going down one of the hills in one of the Walmart shopping carts, and it was like, oh my God. At least there's kids out there remembering what it was like to be our age.
Right. Right. I
remember. Oh, it was a push
mower.
Okay.
Growing up, we had. Why would he steal? Why would a vagrant? Maybe he's to make some money. Maybe he's actually going to go work to make some money.
Yeah, but some people are just jerks.
We had growing up. We lived on kind of a hill, and the street had an incline, and we lived pretty far up, and it was a long street. Well, we used to I had a banana, a skateboard, a banana board, and I would sit on that and ride it all the way down, the end of the street. It was the most fun sitting on that little skateboard and riding that down to the end of the street.
Do you want to hear an interesting Sacagawea fact?
Fire away.
Yes.
They don't know how the spelling of her name is a guess, because Lewis and Clark only mentions her one time in the notes by a phonetic name, and this is how they wrote it phonetically. And in all the other notes, she's referred to as the wife of Charbonneau.
The wife of Charbonneau? Who's Charbonneau?
I mean, she was 16 years old during the expedition, and she died at 25 in childbirth.
Hold on, say that one more time.
She was 16 at the time of the expedition.
Yeah, there you go. You can't be 26 at the time of expedition. At the time of the expedition, and die at 25.
25 in childbirth after the expedition.
Yeah.
She actually was a slave.
She was a slave. Yep.
She was captured and sold to Charbonneau and became his wife.
Who's Charbonneau? Why does that name not sound familiar?
He is a French translator.
I know, but what was his first name?
Well, let me hold on.
Maybe it's the first name I know, because
I don't see him.
Toussaint Charbonneau.
As anything but Charbonneau.
It's Toussaint Charbonneau.
Oh, right, Toussaint. Yes.
I'm thinking of the baby's name. I was thinking of the baby's name. That's why, because it's the
Toussaint
baby.
Charbonneau, born in Quebec, Montreal, around 1759.
And interesting, he didn't speak English. She didn't speak English. He spoke one Indian dialect. She spoke two. They communicated through the one Indian dialect, and Lewis and Clark actually had to have a translator to translate from French to English also. So there's a third translator in the expedition.
What was the baby's name?
Hold on.
Come on.
Say again?
Because I don't want to give... Yes, John Baptiste. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. That was who I was thinking of. I don't want to give too much away there. You guys need to just go watch, because she says...
Well, but you're the one that keeps bringing up the facts.
No, Eric did.
Her second daughter's name was Lisette. I don't know what her first daughter's name was. And that's the daughter that is in the portrayal of the picture. The picture is when she's 16 with the daughter on her back.
I thought that was John Baptiste.
Oh, it could be. It could be a son. It just says child.
Yeah, Jean Baptiste. Go watch the interview. We're going to give too much information.
Yeah, please go watch.
Just go watch the interview.
Oh, I watch all their broadcasts.
Let's move on to the next topic. Otherwise, we're just going to talk about the whole damn thing. Yeah, it was John
Yeah,
Baptiste in the
that was
back,
her
but
son, John Baptiste. Yeah.
that's what they said in the. Yeah, that's exactly what Mike just said. Yeah, that's what they said in the interview. All right, so we're going to go to the next item, and I'm going to share this, and this is something that we've talked a lot about counterfeits. We've talked a lot about some of the crap that you've seen on eBay. But I want to share this with you. I actually reached out to a member of the community, and I'm not going to say who it is. If they want to say who they are, then they can. But this is a company. It is the Anti-Counterfeiting Educational Foundation, and we know that eBay, the person who managed eBay, that did a lot of the counterfeit, and they stopped a lot of stuff, retired. They left, and then eBay went with this AI automation stuff, and they basically just been telling people to bugger off.
Mm-hmm.
So ever since that information was given to me by Jack Young, I've been trying to find other ways to report. Now, just because I find them doesn't mean that they haven't been around for a long time. Case in point, the ACEF. Now, I went through and started looking at if we can't get traction in eBay, and I reported another one the other night. Like, how are we going to engage in this? How can I continue, quote unquote, this good work of reporting these things? And how can we get people out there to really come alongside of people who are digging into this hobby, like Jack and Jack? And again, I happened across this particular item, and I reached out to those guys and said, hey, are you familiar with this? And they both said, yes, we're familiar with it. Jack Riley said, reach out to Jack Young. He may have more insight. And I said, hey, do you know who these people are? And he's like, yes, I do. And they have this thing here to report a counterfeit. And you can go through, and there's this counterfeit form. It gives you all the information. And some of it you can find on eBay, some of it you can't. But I took one of the things that Jack and them posted and said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to report this. I'm going to go through and fill this out. And Matt T, quit reporting my eBay listings. And so I went through and did this. And it takes a little bit of time. There's some things that I'm going to be talking with people about to try to find out some specifics. But what's cool is this morning I got, and I can't share the email with you because it gives too much of my personal information on the email. But I'm going to read you the body of the email. And it says, thank you so much for the report. We're currently investigating a large number of counterfeits being sold on eBay. But any additional information you or the channel can provide would be greatly appreciated. The Numismatic Crime Information Center and the Anti-Counterfeiting Education Foundation work closely to address the mass proliferation of counterfeits being sold on web and social media platforms. Please note that the results of our investigation will be forwarded to the appropriate law enforcement authorities. And that was sent to me by the founder and the president, Mr. Doug Davis. Now, I'm following up with that person to ask them if they would be willing to come online and talk about this, what they need to do, what kind of information you need to gather, how to fill out this form appropriately, any kind of imagery or stuff that they would recommend, because I really want you all to have the tools available to you to really, let's start making an impact. Let's really start providing all the information that we get to the community. And we have people who are working with law enforcement in a capacity far above what I can do, right? And so I want to continue to find things like this. So I'm going to be waiting for their feedback and their response. Obviously, it's Mother's Day. I probably won't be hearing anything back from them today. But I wanted to share this with you because I did this last night around probably 9 p.m. and I've already gotten a response.
Nice.
Now, I know that a lot of times you'll get information and you may not get follow up because there may be things about the investigation, there may be things about the situation that's occurring that they can't necessarily share because if they're investigating a ring of these things, they don't want to tip their hat, right? So sometimes you won't necessarily get information back. But what's really important is that if we find something that is designed to help us counterfeit or fight counterfeit sellers, especially on things like eBay and Temu and stuff like that, then we need to do what we can. Now, that's a great question. So how many items are counterfeit, but how can we be sure it's counterfeit? That's an extremely good question. And that is, we have a plethora of resources available to us that can help us identify this. And if you look at, and I'm going to call out Jack Young and the Facebook group that he does, Fun with Fakes, or the Dark Side, which is his, kind of really in-depth, by invite only kind of website where you dig into the actual counterfeits and people talk about it and they, really share information back and forth. There's a community of people who are really engaged in this that are very knowledgeable. But you guys, Jack, I don't know if Jack is still here. I know he was here just a few moments ago. But Jack freely makes himself available. He's
and
been
there
on.
I just point out real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt. There are some extremely, oh my gosh, I lost my word, obvious counterfeits on eBay that you would not need anybody's help. If you see I just saw a listing that had $5 Morgan dollars for sale for $90. Or if you see one for sale for $10 or whatever, there are just some that are just so obvious that you don't need help identifying. You just know that they're bad. You see the same coin posted 50 times. You see the picture, the same coin posted 50 times. You look over and the seller's name is different in all 50 listings.
Yeah.
There's shenanigans there.
Well, it's like the one site that I showed that it's from they're a Chinese company, right? And they're listing all of these Morgan dollars and peace dollars. My favorite one that comes from them is the 1796 peace dollar. That's still my favorite one, by the way.
Yeah, the ones that are dated that were never produced.
Yeah, it's just they're funny, right?
Some that are so obvious. So.
Not to be confused with the Daniel Carr.
Yes.
Right. Those are different. They're not designed to do that. But there are some things that you have to understand when you're looking at the websites, and you have to be very clear when you're reporting somebody like this that just because you see a counterfeit listing doesn't mean they're actually selling it as a counterfeit. So you really need to look at the descriptions. And again, if you find stuff like this, then reach out to people like, myself or Paula or Jack Riley, Jack Young. And there's a number of people that you can reach out to and say, hey, I found this listing. It looks like there's a bunch of counterfeits here. Here's the username. Here's the URL. And you'll look at a couple of these with me. I'd like to be able to report these, but I need your feedback. And if you help us do that, then we can get those reported. So again, this is something the ACEF has been around for quite a while. And again, Jack is still in chat. Jack, if people send me URLs, I'll send them to you. Would you mind helping saying, hey, yes, that's good. Yes, that's not good. That actual listing says that they're whatever, right? So I'm not, and I don't want to speak for him. I've just necessarily put him on the spot. But this is what he does, right? And he, yeah, yeah. And so again, there is a concerted effort by a small group of, uh, including Doug Davis, and two unnamed individuals trying to wake eBay up to the current situation. Yeah, this is perfect, right? And I am just a small channel, okay, and all I can do is pull the information and share it with you, but there are a number of people here who have influence. There are a number of people here, and again, I say this all the time. Every one of you in chat, okay, every one of you in chat, have the opportunity to make an impact if given the appropriate information, the correct information, right? This is why we're big. Everybody that's talking on this channel, and you see people in chat, making sure you have the correct information. There are channels out there that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Doesn't mean they know what the hell they're talking about. We have channels out there that have 1 million subscribers. Doesn't mean they know what the hell they're talking about. Surround yourself with people who really understand. And we have no problem reviewing a coin with you. Now, if you send a photo, it better be a decent one, and we can't always guarantee that we're going to be able to answer that from a photo. But I'll tell you what, Paula has done her research. She's been surrounded by a number of great people. I'm not even going to say again.
Great people, yeah.
Great people. But the thing is that, so here's what's fun about the people that I've surrounded myself with. Okay? They all have a heart to help the community protect themselves from fraud and counterfeit. Yeah. Okay? The people that I align myself with are high on integrity. They may not be the best with bedside manner. Paula.
That might be me. That might be,
okay.
Might be me.
But what's important here is that the people understand. Yeah. Well, we say that out of jest, right? But kind of. There are things about many of the people that I align myself with that they have some connections that are deep, 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 deep into numismatics. And I don't have those connections, but they do. And so when you allow me the opportunity to share the information with them, then they take it to those other people, and they take it to those other people. And this is how the community is engaged, right? So surround yourself with these people who are willing to do this. What I'm trying to do is continuously search for ways to be able to combat this. Can I make a difference? Well, I don't know, but I tell you what, I'm going to try. And I have a desire to educate, and I get stuff wrong all the time, folks. Okay, I get stuff wrong all the time. I don't have the level of knowledge as Matt and Mike. I certainly don't have the knowledge that Eric and Paula have, or Chuck has, or Jack, even Jack Riley. I mean, good grief, this kid, he's freaking tearing up the counterfeit world. Like,
and trust me, every one of those people, all of us, we all make mistakes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
that's how you learn even more.
But what's cool about each one of those people is that they have a heart to protect the community, and that's big news. And so when you look stuff out there, when you try to find stuff, number one, Jackalope said something. I wish people would remember the rule of if it's too good to be true, it is. But here's the thing: we're all looking for a deal, and I don't care how smart we think we are. it's really easy to go, oh man, you know what? I don't think they know what they have. Because we find ways to justify things ourselves.
That's right.
And we will talk ourselves into making stupid decisions. You have to set rules hard and fast. Number one, and I've talked about this a number of times, if you're going to go into a coin shop or you're going to go to a coin show, know what the hell you're looking for. Take the money to get what you're looking for. Know what you're willing to spend for it. Walk in, talk to that person, get it, and then be on your way. If you're looking for a very specific variety, and I'll tell you who's really good at this is Adam, right? Coins and Ghouls. He knows what he's looking for, and he'll sit down and go to different tables and look through some stuff and look for very specific items. If he finds
looks at what Adam does, though, is Adam will pick certain. He'll pick a number of certain varieties, and those are the specific ones that he will be looking for that day. And Not that if he comes across other ones,
he finds random ones too.
But he definitely has a plan. He goes in with a plan.
It's the same thing when searching coins. And Eric, you and I have talked about this, and Chuck has talked about this 1,000 times. If you're going to be searching random rolls of coins, now I don't mean the coins that are all 2022p or 2020D or 1963 Denver, right? I'm talking about the mixed rolls. Sort them out by date and mint mark, because you want to be able to see the same thing as frequently as you can, because your mind's going to understand the difference. If you're looking at different dates every time, you're going to miss a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
Right? Especially when you're looking at mint mark positioning and things like that. Set yourself up for success. So look for very specific things. So when you're going online, and I can tell you by talking to many people, either in the coin searching world or whether they're looking for counterfeits or whatnot, they'll go online looking for a very specific set of coins. And just like what Coins and Ghouls does, right? They go looking for a very specific set of items. That's what they look for. If you happen across something, you happen across something. But if you stay focused, and again, Invisible River Ranch said mission prep. Absolutely. Right? Know what you're doing. Do your book work before you go do the coin work. And so, but what I want to do is I want to just be, again, I want to be a source to connect you to people who can help you accomplish your task. But to do so, you guys have to do a little bit of work. And so I want to give you guys some opportunities to identify these things. I will make phone calls. Jack knows the president of that. He's familiar with some people that are doing some work.
Oh yes, he is.
And so I'm gonna ask him. Hey, formal introduction. Would you be willing to do that? I would love to have the president of the ACEF online and talk to you guys about what they can do and what you guys can do to help report that and give you guys some scenarios. Jack's in the chat already said he's willing to do some reviews. So if you guys send stuff to me or Paula, then we'll make sure we get it to you guys, to him, and so they can do those looks and they can do those reviews, right? And so, you guys are already working that?
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you tell me that?
Well, because I don't know what Jack wants me to tell and what Jack doesn't want me to tell.
I got you. Okay.
Like Fight Club.
Yeah. I don't want to scare away my source. I love Jack.
Well, I didn't know you guys were already working on this. This was something that I did independently on my own. So.
No. Look,
I don't want to step on people's toes.
You're not stepping on our toes. The more I am not one of those people, and you should know that by now, regardless of what you may hear about me. I am not one of those like jealous type people, or you can't stream over me, or you can't blah blah. You know what I mean? Like the more people that get the word out on this kind of stuff, the better to me. There can't be too many people talking about it.
Agree.
So, I mean, there just can't, and everybody has different perspective. Everybody comes in with different information. I don't care. I want people to be talking about this. I want people to be sharing this information. It takes a village, right? So I'm just that little old ant trying to move that rubber tree plant.
Well, yeah, and again, yeah, this is one of those things. I don't. So here's the thing about coin collecting, and we've talked about this before.
That's right.
There is nothing any of us can do that hasn't been done before, right? Like when we're talking about videos or live streams, the world of numismatics is it's large, but it's small. Okay.
Yeah.
There's just different people doing things different ways. And Paul and I have talked about this a lot. And again, you guys know that I consider her a mentor, not just a friend, but an actual mentor. The collaborations, the stuff that she's dealt with, the people that she's dealt with, have been extremely enlightening. She's connected me with stuff, and she quite frequently challenges my ass and sends me stuff and says, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Well, I think it's this. Why would you say that?" Well, because of this and this.
Well, people in the community should know that about me. If you put a video out and I happen to watch it and it's not correct, I'm probably going to say something.
Well, and you should.
So, right, and that's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have taken down, guys. I don't know if you realize this. Paula knows. I have taken down dozens of videos.
Tormentor.
And yeah, Crusher of Dreams. Yes. Yeah, you guys remember Game of Thrones? Right? You're the Dragon Queen. You know, she had all those titles. First of the Andals. Hers is Crusher of Dreams, Paula the Tormentor. Yeah, but the thing is Paula has come alongside of me and said, and I have other people, right? Philip the Board has done this. There's other people who have come out and said, "Hey, Frosty, you said the wrong president. Hey, Frosty, you said the wrong date. You said 1986 instead of 1896.
It's the Jefferson dime.
The Jefferson dime. Yeah, exactly. Well, but here's the thing. I took that photo from somebody else. I didn't even capture.
I know. I know you did.
They had it wrong. I never even picked up on it. And she was like, "Oh my God, this drives me nuts." And it was like, "Oh my God, that's so funny." I'm going to tell people I knew that, but I totally missed it.
It wasn't just you. Like nobody in the making comments saw it either.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But I've taken tons and tons and tons of videos down and reworked them and re-uploaded them because she holds me accountable, and I love that. I told her one time, "I expect that of you," and she's like, "What do you mean you expect it?" And I'm like, "Well, I've come to expect that if something's wrong, you're going to let me know." And that we need, folks, you need that in your life. You need somebody who's going to give you the hard and fast, and it may not be nice, but it's the hard and fast.
It may not be what you want to hear.
I don't want to surround myself with yes people. I don't want to surround myself with people who are only worried about making money.
Who I am.
Right?
I cannot be anybody but who I am.
Yeah.
And good. You got to take the bad with the good, and if you can't, then I'm sorry, because I just can't be. I'll change certain things or I'll try to accommodate certain things, but I just, I'm almost 58 and I don't know how to be anything but who I am. So.
Well, and working, we both have worked in the medical field, and just because a doctor's, and I'm excuse the expression, but just because a doctor's an asshat doesn't mean he's not a great doctor.
Yeah.
Right. There are people synonymously with bad bedside manner, but it doesn't take away from the fact that they're a freaking excellent physician. If you're an attorney, there are some attorneys out there who are extremely nice. They have the client in place, and there are other ones that could give a rat's ass less. They just want to win the case and make money. Does that make every attorney evil and vile? No, we joke about it, obviously. But again, it's one of those things that, one of the jokes I make about attorneys is, the safest thing an attorney can do is water sports, because they'll never get attacked by sharks out of professional courtesy.
Right.
Well, I talked with Greg Bennick about that a little bit. As So we, as educators, we walk a fine line, especially in this hobby, because we have to be able to remember what it was like when we first started, and you have to come in with some people with a gentler approach, but you also have to remember that coins don't have feelings. So when I'm talking to you about your coin, it is about your coin. It is not personal, right? And that's sometimes where I get into trouble, because I want to just talk about, a lot of people
send the coins. I get coins to look at.
Right.
When I say that there's nothing unique about them, automatically a lot of people get combative.
I have a really good friend,
and that's the struggle. That's the struggle.
Yeah.
I and people have to understand that a lot of times when they come to me with their question, I may have had just got done with a really combative interaction with somebody. So I may not be in the best frame of mind, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense.
I had a really good friend when I was working, and I used to do IT. And I've been in the IT world since Packard Bell was a thing. Many of you will be like, what the hell is Packard Bell? Other ones will laugh and go, oh my God. And I had a friend tell me one time, we were sitting in a customer service. We were tier 2 support for customer service, and we dealt with the bigger problems. And we were standing there and complaining about, oh my God, it's the same call all the time, right? Like, reset your computer, redo that stuff. And it was like, he goes, you know what you need to think about is the fact that you hear that 1,000 times, but this is the first time they're experiencing.
Yeah.
And it brought something to me that I've utilized a lot in the coin collecting world, and that is, a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's so stupid. You should know that. Well, why should they know that? Why should a new collector know something? Mm-hmm. It's not common sense if they've not been taught it. So as a channel who is doing the education, and you guys will hear me do this, right? Hey, okay, hold on. Wait. Paula, Eric, hold on just a second. Can you clarify what that means? Can you clarify? Because we talk the language all the time, so we know what it means. There's an inference of something there. And sometimes we need to say, hold on, and break it down. Yesterday, great example, talking about NQs. I brought out my little pin art toy, right? And I'm like, this is what this looks like. And the Acadian was like, oh, got it. Like, boom, it makes sense. Just because something is intuitive to some of us doesn't mean it's intuitive to others. And just because some people have good bedside manner and can laugh and joke and be happy all the time doesn't mean everybody else is. But a person's knowledge, if you can't deal with people who can be obtuse, I know you guys would love that line. Obtuse. If you guys can't handle that and you don't like those people in your life, then that's it. Be done with it, right?
Yeah.
But I have friends, two types of people. You guys know I like to talk, right? And I have a very, very good friend that I can't get a word in edgewise when I'm around them, because they like to talk too. And it drives me nuts. But it doesn't drive me nuts in the sense of I can't say anything. It's like, oh my God, is that what I sound like? Right? Because they do the same thing that I do. And it's like, oh my God, is that what I'm like? Do I cut people off like that? Do I talk like that? Do I do that kind of stuff? And it's something that I absolutely adore them. But it's like, oh my God, I have to accept this because that's how I am. And sometimes people don't like things because it reminds them of themselves or an aspect that they battle within themselves. And instead of accepting it, they get hostile. And if you react the way that you're complaining about somebody, it's because you're very much the same. So take a minute and think about that. Reflect on those things. But you have to make a decision when you have a friend. Okay. Number one, am I going to stand by the side of truth, or I'm just going to stand by my friend because they're my friend? And I have made a point a long time ago to stand by the side of integrity and stand by the side of truth. And if you do that, you will find that your friends, your true friends, will always be around, and you will always be on the right side because a true friend will understand. Even when things aren't necessarily going well, a true friend will always understand that. And so, when I look at Paula, when I look at Eric, when I look at Chuck, when I look at Jack Young, Jack Riley, when I look at Matt and Mike, and I don't know Matt and Mike as in I've spent time with them, I've sat down with them, I've worked with them. I only know them online presence, right? But I know who they are. I've watched their integrity. I've watched them say, I don't know this. Hold on. I'm going to have to come back and get you the answer to this. Let me find you these things. They don't brag about what they know. They don't go on about this stuff, but they don't even like being called experts, right? Now, there's other people who have, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of subscribers, and they're like, look at the plaque that I have on my wall. Look at how smart I am. Look at how much I know. Oh my God, you have to come back to me because I'm the only source of this information. Oh, hey, by the way, if you guys really want to make an impact, you need to let me do this on my channel because I have way more subscribers than you. And I wouldn't be happy with just the limited amount of people that you have on your poor, pathetic little channel. I thought you would like that, Paula.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm laughing inside.
Yeah, I know. So it's very important that when you see people do this kind of stuff, you look back and you say, what is the intent here? Right. And so.
Well, you hear it a lot from coin dealers too. And please, if you're a coin dealer out there, don't be offended because if you are not like this, I am not talking about you. But you do hear, I get it all the time, not just from coin dealers, but from coin collectors too. I've been doing this 40, 50 years. I mean, all the time. They throw that in your face. I've been collecting 50 years. I know what L on the rim is.
Happy Mother's Day, Gremlin.
I know. Happy Mother's Day, everybody who's a mother.
Yeah, hope you guys are having a wonderful one. I'm going to read this one more time for everybody who missed this at the very beginning. This is a poem by Jeannie.
I was talking about you, Mike.
This is a poem by Jeannie Graveline, and this is something that I read to all the mothers. We have more people in here. I said this at the very beginning, but I want to do this one more time. It says, a mother's love. No gift on earth is greater, no treasure held above. The joy that comes from knowing a mother's endless love. In spite of how it's tested, it grows from year to year. Providing strength and comfort, it gently draws us near. It warms us, it protects us, it guides us from afar, shedding light upon us like a bright and shining star. When all the things are measured, not one shall rise above or be compared in value to a mother's endless love. So again, to all the mothers that are out there, happy Mother's Day. Thank you for all you do. Sometimes it's a thankless job. But I know there's a lot of great, solid mothers out there. So love you guys, appreciate you, and hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day. So again, I wanted to take a little bit, said that at the very beginning, but there's a bunch of other people that have come in, and I just wanted to say thank you to all the mothers that are out there.
So sweet.
All right, let's go ahead and continue our talk.
Okay, back to coins.
So,
yeah,
but anyway, so go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure that we didn't forget to talk about the coin vault.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you want to share that?
Because I need something else to trigger me this morning.
Good morning, Cartier. How are you? Hope you're doing well.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me pull up the picture. Oh, I got to trust this device. Trust this device. Okay, I trusted the device.
$5 from Gremlin. Super chat. Thank Frosty is the best. Happy Mama's Day. Thanks, Gremlin.
Well, so I put, if a lot of you guys probably are not in the Coin Q&A group on Facebook. A lot of you guys probably don't do Facebook. I get that. Trust me. Don't start now if you're not into it, please.
I just lurk.
But So I want to show you guys something. And listen, I turned over a new leaf. I'm trying. I'm trying not to tell you guys how to spend your money, because who am I to tell you how to spend your money? But I'm going to tell you why I think that you shouldn't spend your money on this. It really bothers me. Hang on, I got to pull it up. I think my tablet's being really, really stupid. I'll pull the picture up. Hang on.
No worries. If you need me to, I can pull it up as well.
So I saw this. Well, you go ahead and pull it up then. Pull that picture up, because I'm on a tablet and it's really stupid and slow. But I saw this and I put it on the Facebook group, and so I'm getting a little bit of argument, and not because of the post itself, but because I tried to compare it to Canadian cents. I put up a listing of 2 rolls of Canadian cents, 2012, last year of the Canadian cents, that are selling for like $10 for 2 rolls. And I used that as an example of why, even if the 2025 cents were to be the last year, I said, look at the Canadian cents and use that as kind of a historical reference. And I still think it's a valid point. The person argues that there's a lot more Lincoln cent collectors than there are Canadian cent collectors, and I'm comparing apples to oranges. But that's not even my point. I'm getting totally off track here. Frostbite, keep me in line. Anyway, my point of this whole thing, if Frostbite ever gets the picture,
I'm trying to find the.
Is that okay? Well, I've got it.
Yeah, pull it up. I'm trying to find the link, but I can't find the.
All right. Let me enter the full screen.
It doesn't pull stuff up in order, so.
Yeah. Hang on. Share screen.
Sorry.
Share. No. By the time we realized you weren't doing it, it was up. So it takes a while for mine too. Dude, what's your point? I know. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I have a point. Trust me. So this was a sale on Coin Vault for 3 rolls of 2025 Lincoln cents for 2 payments of $40, so $80 for 3 rolls of this. And they put up the last Lincoln cents ? Well, they definitely advertise these as this is going to be the last year. So don't let those question marks fool you. When they were talking about this, they were advertising them as this is going to be the last year, and Donald Trump made an executive order and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, my point is, this is a ripoff. That's my point. I'm getting there. This is a total ripoff. They have already produced 1,060,000,000 of these, and it's only January, February, March, April, and that's 4 months. That's in 4 months. They've already produced 1,060,000,000 Lincoln cents for 2025. Now, you may not be seeing them in circulation. The majority of them probably are either sitting in somebody's garage because they're hoarding them, or they're sitting still at the Federal Reserve because they release them as needed. The Secretary of the Treasury produces and releases coins as needed. So if there are still a ton out there in circulation, they're not going to release the new ones, obviously.
Yeah, and here's the mintages right here. You can see.
One thing that I did notice is that they have stopped producing Kennedy half dollars this year.
So far.
Now, that's so far. That's not to say that next month they won't bring the production back online, but last month they didn't produce any. So, yeah, I shouldn't have said that because don't go buying candy out dollars. Anyway.
Yeah.
My whole point with putting the Canadian cents up and using those as an example is it's been 13 years since they stopped producing. There are still a ton of people that collect them, and there's a ton of U.S. people that collect Canadian coins. People all over the world that collect Canadian coins. My biggest thing is that the shield cents in general, and for that matter, copper-plated zinc cents, have not been a real popular ticket for collectors. Even Lincoln cent collectors are not, and I'm not talking about you, Eric, or Variety, people who hunt for variety.
No, I get what you're saying.
Lincoln cents in general. The shield cents are not a popular commodity, and there's plenty to go around.
I still don't like them. I mean, they're a necessity. They're not.
They're just not. For the most part, they are not gonna last.
They don't fit my big giant Bigfoot hands.
You have got to store these. If you buy these rolls, you really need to protect them and store them correctly.
And you're still not going to protect them from the sulfur wash spots. They're still going to get white spots.
Exactly. But you get any amount of moisture or anything like that, these rolls get compromised whatsoever, they're going to disintegrate. The copper-plated zinc cents were not made to last. They were not made to last the test of time. And if you buy these rolls, specifically the ones that are in this photo, these are not from the mint. These were put into big hoppers and sent to the Federal Reserve, and then they were rolled, and there are going to be other cents mixed in with these. There may be one or two, or you may get rolls that don't have any other, that are all 2025. But you run the risk that there's going to be a awful corroded cent in with those rolls. And that there is stuff on those coins that spreads. So keep that in mind and just be smart about it. Be smart about it. Wait, because if you wait, there's a real high probability that these are going to go way down in price. And like I said, there's going to be plenty to go around.
Yeah, there's a high probability you'll get them for 50 cents a roll.
That's right. There will be plenty to go around. So just be smart about it. This really bothered me.
It did. We talked about this yesterday, right?
Yeah. It really bothered me. And another point is that a lot of the people that watch these things a lot of times come on late at night, and a lot of times it's elderly people that just don't know any better, that are trying to buy things to pass down to their children or grandchildren, and they really don't know any better.
Here's another example. This was sent to me by the Acadian. Wayfair, $129. You can get the 1986 all the way up to 2024 for only $130 per coin.
Random year. Mm-hmm.
And they'll send you a coin every month, and it's $130 plus $20 shipping. So $150 for MS69 ASE. Yeah, so be careful with these. You'll see this at Bradford Exchange and some of these other places as well.
Bradford Exchange is a big one.
Yeah, they're horrible. So be aware of this. And unfortunately, like Paula just stated, they bring these on at 2 o'clock in the morning with people who suffer from insomnia. And half the time they're on some sort of Ambien or medication. Yeah. And they can't, they're not in the right mindset. So be careful of these things. And again, if you want to buy something, walk away from Should I cancel my subscription? You got jokes. Be willing to walk away from a deal if something just doesn't seem right to you, and trust your gut. Right. All right, Mike. Thanks for coming in. Have a great one.
Bye, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Bye. Love you, my friend. Great interview. You guys, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll also tell you guys that there is a House resolution that has been proposed. Now, this is not the first time. This has been done for decades. They've been trying to stop production of the penny, of the Lincoln cent, for decades. It's almost like every 10 years there's a new one that comes along. But it's HR 3074. Okay. It's in its infancy. It's not even a complete bill yet that has been proposed, but they are working on it. And if you can look it up. I actually put the link in the Facebook group it should be at the top of the page. I actually put the link to that House resolution. If you look at it, the wording is if it does come to fruition, they are still planning on keeping the cent for collectors, which means they'll still be making like proof and mint sets. They just won't be putting them into circulation.
Have a great day, Jack. Take care of yourselves and happy Mother's Day.
Bye, Jack. Have a great day. We need to talk. This is a bill, though, to completely remove it and have us start rounding up or down. So this is the resolution that
the one that I have here is the one that's forcing them to do the study. So this is another component of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can actually find so I put that's not the one though that I have on the Facebook group. The one that actually has the wording. It's the complete bill or complete thing. Anyway, so here, I'll grab it and send it to you.
I have it. I have a whole listing of all these. I track this every day.
Yeah, and this is just for the committee.
To put it up or not.
This is the one, but this is the one. That other bill won't go anywhere until these actions are complete. This is the one
that won't even write the bill until it goes through committee. So you're talking 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Yeah. So this is the one, and again, you're looking at this was done in February, and again, no action on any other resolution can happen without this one. Period. End of story.
Yep.
This is the one
that's referred to the House committee. It's not even been accepted yet.
Not even there yet. It's not in process.
Right.
And it'll go through.
Infancy.
It'll go through 10 or 12 of these. But what people need to understand is you have tons of resolutions, and the resolutions have to have a charter or an investigation. So any action that you look at, doesn't matter what health resolution it is, what medical resolution, whether it's a one that deals with finance, whether it's the House Service Committee, Service Arms Committee, DOD, whether it's education, whatever it is, every one of them requires an investigation. And this is the one requiring the investigation to help determine whether or not it's going to have a financial impact on the United States. So the other one will be affected by this one, but this is the one that's the precursor to all of those. Yeah.
Right.
Well, they have to because everything happens in a committee.
Yeah, it's And so Jackalope made a good point too. The 2026 semi-quincentennial cents, and so they are probably going to mass produce those, just like they did the bicentennial coins. Now, a lot of people go crazy for the bicentennial coins, thinking that they're rare and blah, 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 blah. Well, they actually produced a mass amount. And I imagine they are probably going to do the same thing with the semi-quincentennial coins.
Interesting story on bicentennials. My neighbor just moved. He had 4 bank-wrapped rolls that he got in 1976. And he knew I was a coin collector. And he goes, "You want to buy them?" I says, "Yeah, I'll give you $10 a roll for them." He just looked at me and he
Yeah.
says, well, I'll just take them to the bank. I says, have at it. I says, I got no
Yep.
room to store 4 rolls of those. So
Yeah.
yeah, he thought they
Yeah.
were worth
So
$150 a roll. And I'm like, no. I says, there's 1 or 2 good coins in that series. There's a great double die in
oh yeah, there is in
yeah,
Denver.
you're right. And that's what he had
Yeah.
was 76 Denver rolls.
Oh, hubba hubba.
But I'm not paying you.
You get one of those. You get one of those in mint state condition, and you're sitting on a
That's
good
right.
payday. You're sitting
Right.
on some money. Yeah. So just be smart about it. I mean, I talked about it, I think yesterday, that I think the reason that I get so passionate about and people think I'm telling them how to spend their money is because I'm speaking from a person and a point of view that has I don't have a disposable income.
Yeah,
So I speak like everybody feels the same way as I do, like, and I'm trying to save people money. Well, there are a lot of people that just don't care, and they're going to buy what they want. They're going to buy what they like, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It makes me cringe a little bit just because I pull it back into my own perspective, and I'm like, oh, why did you spend money on that?
So this is an example of what happens when you're looking at the entire thing. So it'll go through the Senate. It'll tell you when it's received in the House. Now, mind you, this has already been part of everything else. You guys will see what this is in reference to in just a second. It goes through, it's signed, it's considered. They debate on the items. They talk about how long it's been there. They make a motion. They agree it. They decide whether they're going to send it. They send it unanimously. They sign it to the president. Signed. It becomes law. This is the semi-quincentennial commission that happened, and so this shows you that, we're talking about 6 months, 5 months to go through that particular process, and this was something that was already approved. This was just relating to the actual coinage and turning this into public law. And so from the time that they actually did this, if you scroll up, you'll see that this action actually went from 2019. So 2019 was when the initial proposal for the semi-quincentennial occurred. And that's listed here, right? It tells you what years the Congress was, what Congress that it went in, and then it'll break down the entire layout. So there's a large number of months, a large number of investigations that have to happen. So it's a pretty lengthy process. And then Paula gave me this, which, oops, I didn't show the screen. Just replace this.
Good morning, everybody who's just
There we go.
huddled in.
This is the actual resolution where it actually goes through all the specifics and what the coin has to have and what it can have on it and what they want to remove and why they want to remove it and what it means and how it'll relate.
That's the resolution on the actual ceasing of the Lincoln Cent.
So this is one of the amendments, one of the addendums to the other one, which is they need to search all this stuff to determine whether or not this is actually something that can be done, whether it's going to have an adverse effect on the United States and on our currency and stuff like that. So when you see one of these, remember that multiples of these go together. It's never just one. There's multiple facets of it. So when you do this, you got to pull it up.
We call it penny.
And you can pull it up when you come into here. You can look under and you can see the related bills associated with each one of these. And then this will show you that the commission actually had this where they referred to the oversight and reform. And then this is the one that actually kind of looked and reviewed at everything. So there were 2 bills associated with the passing of this particular one. So there's multiple actions on any one of these. So if you're ever
Yeah.
going to be looking at this, make sure you don't just look at one. There's always multiple. And I look at these things every day as part of my work. So not necessarily just with the coins, but I'm in here almost every day checking things out. So I watch Congress.gov quite frequently. I also watch
And
Texas
I don't
legislation.
I don't think that any of us will ever see in any of our lifetimes the cent not being in circulation.
And there's
I don't think so either.
it's not the first time this has been done. This was the first time
Right.
this was issued was like 70s or 80s.
It's been done multiple times.
Yeah. And so there's
and
been
it never passes because there's always people, a penny is some money. 3 cents. If this is dealing, a lot of it is dealing with 3 cents. There's going to be a lot of people that are like, well, on a $3 million, 3 cents is 3 cents.
Well, and let's face it, you can't get one of these kids in McDonald's to count out the correct change to doing it the regular way. So let's try to get them to round up or round down. That's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the computers will do it. But, there's been people don't realize there's actually been studies
and
done
that has
to see.
to be done also, right?
There's been studies to get rid of cash, to make everything EFTs. And
Cartier, that's another good point. The cents aren't going away. They're just going to stop making the physical thing. Maybe.
Right.
We don't even know they will.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They certainly have not yet.
The decimal point 0.01 is not being removed from mathematical calculations. So.
It's Trump said something at 30,000 feet up in the air on the way to the Super Bowl or on the way back. I'm not sure which one it was. And it just got out there and people have just been going crazy over it.
Yep.
And they're selling them for too much and they're buying them for too much. And whatever, like I said, spend your money how you want. I'm just here to tell you that it is in all probability you will never see that money back again if you spend that much money on those rolls of cents.
And that's fact.
In all probability.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to spend $300 on a coin or $80 on a roll of cents or whatever, go look at the key dates. Go, if you want something that's most likely going to hold its value, be smart about it. And
that's right.
And look at the classic coins and, anyway, I'm not a modern bullion coin with an eagle privy on it.
Tell us how you feel, Paula.
Boy, do I have my panties in a bunch over those things. Shut up, Paula. I don't care.
It's all good. Yeah, we know how you feel about it.
No, I'm over it. I am. I want people to be smart and not that you're not smart. I just want them to be. I want you not to look back in 10 years and wish you hadn't done something. That's all.
And we all, again, and we talked about this yesterday, if you're a collector, okay, now collectors and stackers, I'm talking about pure stackers. Gary said, I'm primarily a stacker, but I like the Canadians. I collect the Canadians. That's great. But a pure stacker stacks weight. That's it. They don't care about the nice design on it. They're stacking weight. That's all. Most of us are not that. Most of us are collectors. But if you stack things or you collect things like silver pours, you're never going to realize all that money back unless you find somebody who wants that particular piece. Now, I've got a couple pieces like my Stormtrooper or my Voldemort wand from Harry Potter and things like that, where there's been a number of people saying, hey, I'll buy that from you. But those are going to be very limited. But in a situation in which you have to sell your stuff, you're not going to be getting massive amounts of money over spot. for items like that. So take into account resale value, right? Just because you're willing to support an artist and put money into it doesn't mean that's what it's worth. We talk about this again, and you'll hear channels talk about this. What's the difference between value and worth? Just because something is worth something to you doesn't mean that it's its value, right? Or just because it's something of value to you doesn't mean that it's its worth. So you have to be careful with using those words interchangeably, and look at the basis, because anybody can say that their coin's worth any value. You look at some of these eBay listings where they're $1,800 for an MS70 2024 ASE. Well, just because it's listed at that doesn't mean that's what it's worth. That's the value that they've applied to it. Doesn't mean that's what it's worth. So, and just because people do that doesn't mean they're doing anything illegal. They might be a little crooked and shady, but it's not necessarily illegal. So you have to have your wits about you. So make up your mind, do your research before you go do that, and then, do stuff accordingly.
Yeah.
Is there anything else does anybody have any questions? If not, it's 10 o'clock. And I know my wife is up. She's been chatting with some friends of ours, and I've seen tons of Happy Mother's Day messages. I need to get down to her.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
everybody have a great day and have a blessed Sunday.
No stream Saturday, next Saturday, Frosty?
So no, next Saturday is Bifrost graduation.
Oh, that's right.
I will not be live. Well, I might be live, but it won't be for this. I'll be streaming the graduation piece.
It depends on how hard he parties Saturday.
Yeah, well, I'll be doing it Sunday, but because it's going to be in the morning, and then I'm sure she's got friends and after parties and stuff she's going to want to do. It's her time, not mine. I'm just there to support her. Right now, she's on a high school trip. They are safe and sound, and she's like, "I'll message you when I get there." And I haven't heard hiding her hair from her.
In Florida, right?
I don't expect to hear from her. Yeah, they're in Florida.
Yeah, she's at the beach.
And so I will not be here next week. But after this is over, things should kind of resume to all the band and the sports and the events and graduation, and it'll be college stuff later, but right now it'll be back to some normal routine. So I appreciate you all being patient with me.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, see everybody. Happy holidays.
All right, take care, everybody. All right. Well, folks, again, to all you mothers out there, I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the support. If you enjoyed today, please make sure you smash that like on the way out. Gremlin, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. If you haven't already said so, please go say Happy Mother's Day to somebody you love and respect. Say it to your friends, because again, sometimes being a parent is a thankless job. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Make sure you're watching for the videos that are coming out this week. We have a new $50 one coming out this week on Wednesday. So make sure you're going to go check out that series. And again, you guys be well, be blessed, and I will see you all later. Take care.